What is up, YouTube? It is your boy OtakuTalks here, back with another video. And in today's video, I'm going to be explaining JJK poorly. And when I mean poorly, it's going to be poorly done. But you guys are still going to get the gist of everything that's going on, and I'll explain all the key moments in detail. Now, I planned on doing videos like this just to be prepared for when season 3 of JJK comes out, even though I know it won't be probably until another couple years. But hey, let's help the people out and give them something to digest as JJK has ended. Hey, and if you're new to the channel, hit the sub button. And if you're a recurring video, hit the like button. On to the video. JJK starts off with Megumi Fushiguro looking for the cursed object known as Ryomen Sukuna. The cursed object's location is at a school, and this is where our young protagonist Yuji Itadori passes him, and Sukuna's cursed energy residue shocks Megumi. Turns out Yuji's going to visit his grandfather. His grandfather has something really important to say, but Yuji just doesn't care. So granddad just passes away. But first he has to make sure he curses Yuji before he leaves, telling him basically like, you know what, you're strong, so help people. Don't die alone. Then from that point forward, Yuji's like, okay. Megumi then catches up to Yuji, and they fight a grade 2 cursed spirit, which no diffs both of them, until Yuji decides that he wants to eat the cursed object and reincarnate Sukuna. Now with Sukuna reincarnated into Yuji's body, he easily takes out the grade 2 curse, but before he could cause any mayhem, Yuji takes back over his body. Then this white-haired, blue-eyed prince arrives, and he is Satoru Gojo, the self-proclaimed strongest. Well, maybe not self-proclaimed because everybody else agrees with this statement, and he fights Sukuna for 10 seconds. He absolutely toys with Sukuna, and from that point forward, Sukuna decides that when he makes Yuji's body his, he will kill Gojo. Gojo then takes Yuji to school and makes him eat another finger. After he eats the finger, they go meet the principal. This is Yuji's first task of strengthening his resolve. Yuji has the typical main character moment, giving a very heartfelt speech, and then the principal is like, you know what, yeah, you're good. After Yuji talks to the principal, Gojo decides to add another member of the crew, and here we are introduced to Nobara Kugisaki. Kugisaki's curse technique is resonance, and if she hits a straw doll effigy with something of yours attached to it, the damage from that effigy comes to you. Yuji and Nobara are then tasked with a mission to go fight a curse, and they both beat their respective curses, and Gojo just uses this as a test to see if his new recruits are crazy enough, because after all, being a sorcerer is a crazy job. Now the team then get ready to take on their second mission, but this time without Satoru Gojo, as I guess he was on some kind of business trip, and they are tasked with defeating a special grade cursed wound. You know, a grade 2 Megumi Fushiguro, an unranked Yuji Itadori, and an unranked Nobara Kugisaki. What could go possibly wrong? Well, first Nobara gets kidnapped, then Yuji gets his arm ripped off, then Sukuna takes over Yuji's body and tries to fight Megumi. Sukuna takes out Yuji's heart as he knows that Yuji is not man enough to die, which probably immediately backfired as Yuji switched back with himself and then proceeded to die. Once he dies, we get introduced to a big bad, or I guess a group of big bad is one human sorcerer and 3 cursed spirits. They then walk into a coffee shop to discuss their next plan. While that's happening, Yuji is signing a contract he does not understand with the King of Curses. That contract then brings Yuji to life, but in fine print, Sukuna said that you won't remember this contract. And in the bold print, Sukuna said, I could take over your body for 1 minute, but I can't hurt anybody. The human sorcerer and the 3 cursed spirits then discuss their plans, and the human sorcerer is like, I don't think you guys should go fight Satoru Gojo. And this fireball cursed spirit, which basically looks like Squidward when he had the powers and he had the volcano on top of his head. Y'all know which episode of SpongeBob I'm talking about. You know, Krakatoa. God, that was so lame. Anyway, back to the review. Yuji then comes back to life, and Gojo's like, hey, we're gonna do some training. And Yuji's training is just watching movies with the doll, but the doll wakes up and punches Yuji if his cursed energy is out of control. The volcano cursed spirit then pulls up on Gojo. Stay with me now, it's about to get real complicated. The firehead cursed spirit is named Jogo, and the white-haired guy is named Gojo. Okay, now that y'all understand that, I'm going to be using names from now on. Jogo pulls up on Gojo, hits him with a volcano, and is like, man, this is easy. But little does Jogo know, Gojo has infinity. Infinity in this verse just refers to no matter how close you get to Gojo, he will infinitely divide the distance, so the distance will never become 0. You know, a distance of 10 divided by 2 is 5, divided by 2 again is 2.5, divided by 2 again. You know, you get the point. And that will go on forever and ever, and you will never hit 0 or your destination, which is Gojo. But Jogo doesn't know this and still tries to fight Gojo anyway. So after a couple attacks, Jogo is like, bro, I could have sworn I've hit you with all these attacks, what's going on? Then Gojo's like, hey, you didn't really hit me, you hit the infinity. Here, pull your hand out, watch this. Jogo is perplexed that he can't actually touch Gojo, but then he finally touches Gojo. Then Gojo gives him a mean punch to the stomach, then he hits him with reversal red. Then Gojo decides, hey, you know what, this is the perfect time to go grab Yuji. Comes back with Yuji, and Jogo is so mad that he pops a domain expansion. And a domain is basically a space where you know, you just get stronger. Pretty much you get 120% potential or damage boost, and then you get a sure hit attack that can't miss. And there are several ways to counter this technique, but the best way to counter it is just to open your own domain, which Gojo does. And Gojo's domain just completely engulfs Jogo's domain. Gojo then rips his head off, and then he is saved by his comrade. Now we switch point of views to Megumi and the gang, and they're preparing for this big event called the Kyoto Sister School event. And in this event, they take the sorcerer students from Tokyo and the sorcerer students from Kyoto and make them fight each other. Whoever eliminates the most curses first, or whoever's team is last left standing, wins. But we'll get back to that as we switch perspectives again. And this time we're following an emo wannabe. His name is Junpei, and Junpei gets bullied a lot. I mean, I understand, look at him. We'd bully this kid too. Yes, I said we, as in you and me.
We? Now we going to war. What do you mean we? Nintendo? No, nigga, we as in us. Us? Are you talking about no, nigga, us?
Me. So this bullied loser with no friends, I'm sorry, the most loved character in JJK, arrives at the movie theaters. There he meets a cursed spirit named Mahito. Mahito then proceeds to change 3 souls right in front of him into these grotesque monsters. And Junpei's like, oh, well, those were my bullies, so like, appreciate it, but also, how did you do that? And then Mahito's like, bro, I could teach you how to do this if we become friends. Then Junpei's dumbass is like, yeah, we could become friends, bro. Then we switch to Yuji and Nanami, and they're fighting some low-level grade curses, trying to figure out what the hell is going on, where these curses are coming from. And it turns out these people are not curses, they're actually humans. Just grotesque monsters that Mahito transformed. After they get done fighting these grotesque humanoid monsters, we then switch back to Yuji and Nanami as they already have Junpei on their radar. And Yuji is tasked with meeting up with Junpei. But you know, Yuji is such the happy-go-lucky MC that he gets along with Junpei. He meets Junpei mom, they have dinner, and they even like the same grotesque things and also have the same interest in movies. But before they can get to all that, Nanami finds Mahito's little hideout and goes to fight Mahito. And Nanami and Mahito just get straight hands, like they just fight for real. Just a little dialogue here and there. And here, this is where we learned about self-imposed binding vows. And Nanami's self-imposed binding vow is overtime. Overtime basically cuts Nanami's potential short at like 80% during the times he's at work, say from like 7 to 3. Then, you know, after 3 o'clock, it activates overtime. Then overtime just allows him to activate 120% of his max potential. And that's pretty good because it can make this guy super strong throughout the rest of the day. But anyways, that's too much yapping. After Nanami leaves the fight, noticing that Mahito is just too strong of an opponent to fight even as an infant, thinks that he can't let Mahito get any stronger as it will be the end of mankind for all. Not verbatim what he says, but damn near close. So after Yuji and Junpei do their whole fiasco, Mahito plants a finger inside of Junpei's home, and then that finger attracts a cursed spirit which kills Junpei's mother. Then Mahito, manipulating ass, talking about some, oh well, Junpei, it might be your bullies who placed this finger on your mom, you should go and kill them. Then he finally goes, okay, I think it's about time I teach you how to use sorcery. And he doesn't even teach him, he just transforms his brain and then he can use sorcery now. Junpei's technique is honestly fire, but it is so boring. So the most you'll get from me today is a jellyfish go sting. Junpei then stings everybody in his school with the jellyfish. Yuji arrives and then is like, bro, Junpei, what's up, bro? What's going on? Junpei is all emo, is like, bro, get back, my family, you don't know pain. They have a quick little scuffle and then Yuji hits him with the talk no jutsu. As soon as Junpei comes to his senses, Mahito pulls up. Mahito then decides to turn Junpei into a hippo. Yuji then begs Sukuna for his help one more time, and Sukuna's like, nah bruh, I'd rather not. Mahito then starts laughing at Yuji, while Sukuna also simultaneously starts laughing at Yuji. And in a fit of rage, Yuji punches Mahito, and Mahito actually starts bleeding because he's like, hold on, wait a second. And it turns out that you can't hit Mahito unless you attack his soul first. And the soul as a concept, even to us in real life, continues to be this abstract thing that we don't know anything about. So in order to damage the soul, you have to be able to perceive the soul. And because since it's an abstract thing that we don't know anything about, we can't perceive it. But Yuji is special because he houses Sukuna, which is 2 souls inside of 1 body. So he is the perfect foil. Yuji and Mahito then get to fighting. And Mahito then makes the mistake of touching Yuji's soul, which by proxy touches Sukuna's soul. And Sukuna does not like that and gives Mahito a nice little warning. Then Nanami pulls up and notices that Mahito is bleeding. and then puts 2 and 2 together that Yuji can fight Mahito. Then from this point forward, people say Jujutsu Kaisen becomes peak because what they do to Mahito is just ridiculous. After a couple hands being thrown back and forth, Yuji and Nanami both understand that Mahito has to not create, but it's a sign that everybody in Jujutsu sorcery knows when a technique is about to happen. So Mahito and Yuji are like, well, right before, we get that signal that it's about to happen, how about we just keep punching them so it doesn't happen? And then they proceed to beat the brakes out of Mahito. They whooping Mahito ass so much that he literally considers, like, I might be dead here. And then pops a domain expansion just to get himself out of trouble. He only traps Nanami in the domain, and he's happy with it. He's like, well, okay, I'm about to kill you. Then here we get a piece of information about domains, that they are very weak on the outside to outside attacks. So Yuji breaks the barrier and jumps in. And since Mahito's sure hit technique involves the soul, he touches Sukuna's soul again. And Sukuna's like, alright bro, you touched my soul the second time. Here. Gives him a nice farewell present and Mahito escapes. After they jump Mahito, we then go back to the Kyoto Sister School event POV, and Yuji finally gets introduced to everybody else. Because until this point, everybody just assumed that he was dead. But nope, surprise, OPP. And Yuji pops out of a big old present. Now that everybody's acquainted for real, we can finally start the Kyoto Sister School event. Instead of the normally scheduled program how it's supposed to go, Principal Gakuganji from the Kyoto Sister School is like, you know what, everybody just kill Yuji Itadori. Everybody is ready to go with the plan until Todo, a really strong grade 1 sorcerer, says, I'm going to fight him by myself, and if any of you guys jump in, I'm going to kill you. And these guys are his teammates, by the way. Hate to cut you guys off right here and blue ball you like that, but part 2 of this arc is absolutely fire, and it won't do it justice to try to squeeze it into another 12-minute segment. Trust and believe, this 12-minute segment alone is going to be super hype, filled with good fights, intense moments, overall just an emotional roller coaster. We get to see Yuji Itadori upgrade his arsenal. But I am out of time today. It has been your boy, OtakuTalks.